my lovelies, back at it again with another review video. It has been way too long. I'm so sorry. Holotaco recently had released their garden variety collection, which was Holo Royalties collection, and as well as that, they had the Holo Royalty sale. So I grabbed a lot of polishes, which is why this video is so late and why I'm in a rush to record it. Because everything arrived very late. Because I have problems. And now financial problems. I'm just kidding. So I grabbed the Garden Variety Collection as well as some other polishes and the Jelly Sandwich Collection. I think that's what it's called. And I do want to preface that I do plan to review that one. And yes, it will be very late. But also, in my very humble opinion, picnic stuff is for summer, not spring. So I do want to do the garden variety one though first, because this one is limited edition. The jelly one isn't, so that won't come later. We're doing this one now. You're staying here with me. I am really excited about this collection. I am a part of Holo Royalty, so I did technically have a say in what was going on. And this one, so much better than last year. I'm so sorry. Last year was a good idea. This is more my speed. So, very excited. There's a topper. There's a thermal. Okay, let's get started. We are going to start with Keep It Evergreen, which I keep hearing and either think Evermore or Everdeen. The two loves of my life. Actually, I really do not like the Evermore album all that much. Don't come for me. I'm so sorry. I'll do better. I'll be better. I'll be better. It is described as a deep teal green metallic polish with smooth, shiny microflakes, silver reflective glitter, and scatter holo. I was able to get this in 2 coats, and though it didn't look like it because I forgot to record the first one, so it looks like 3, it was actually 2. And I really like it. It's this really nice deep green. It does give off teal vibes. And from like a hard angle, you can kind of get a little bit of the perfect purple. That's 100% what I meant to say. Yes. Perfect purple. It looks stunning. For comparisons, I grabbed the Prices Alexandrite for the purple shift. I grabbed Teal No Lies for the metallic formula, and I grabbed Teal with it because Christine has been noted to say that they are the same formula. I will say that Teal with it and Evergreen are indeed the same formula minus the color, and Evergreen tends to be a lot smoother on application than Teal with it. That was always my criticism with Teal with it, because it always was patchy and you had to do like 3 or 4 coats to make it not look super patchy. With Evergreen, it's a lot better. I think it's a different color than Teal No Lies. I know some people have said that it's the same color or they look very similar, but when you put them like next to each other, it is very clear that Teal No Lies leans more blue and Evergreen leans more green. I would also say that the color mostly goes with the Prices Alexandrite, which does also lean into more of a deeper blue-ish side of the color of teal, but it is closer to that color. But of course, Prices Alexandrite has more of a shift to it and has the built-in, as I'm calling it, purple flake taco. I would rate this a 4.7 out of 5. It is like pretty close to perfect, but room for improvement, because 5 is the perfect polish, and we all know that goes to Tanzanite away. This next polish needs no apologies. It is described as a lavender jelly base filled with multicolored iridescent flakies, pink iridescent micro shimmer, and scattered halo. Very pretty, very girly, very frolic in a ballerina store with your tutu and tights. Very girly. When applying it, it seemed to be pretty thin, so I had to build it up in 3 coats, but overall I think it's really pretty, and it does remind me of Solo Mission, but like as Solo Mission's pretty sister. Like Solo Mission got beat by the stick, and No Opalogies came out covered in glitter.
That said, this is the closest to a pink in this collection, so it is going to lose some points out of spite alone.
No, 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 bad. Sit down. This is not pink. This is purple with a pink shimmer. There's no pink in this collection. It is girly. I will give it that. It is pastel. I will give it that. Does it have a pink micro shimmer? Sure, but it is not the pink of this collection, okay? That's like saying that Vitamin Glow was the pink of its collection, okay? That was blue. This is purple. It is not pink. It is not pink. This is a purple and green collection. There is no pink. There's no pink. There's no pink. There's no pink. It is pretty. Moving on! For No Opalogies, I compared it to Phantom Call and a nail combo of Serial Killer, Twilight Shimmer, and Aurora Unicorn Skin. I was very shocked on how close the shimmer and the flakes were to the ones within No Opalogies. However, Serial Killer was just like maybe a little bit more warm. It leans, I guess, a little bit more pink than No Opalogies. So, no dupes here for No Opalogies ratings. I will not apologize. I make that joke a lot. For No Opalogies rating, I'm going to give it a 4.9. No. 4. I gotta rank it below. I have to rank it below Evergreen because it was thin. So 4.6. Sorry. It's a very pretty polish and I love it, but it being so thin is a problem. Now to Sage the Day. It is described as a crushed holographic formula in a sage green shade with blue iridescent micro shimmer. I was able to build this one in 2 coats. This to me is the ugly polish of the collection. I don't hate it per se. I just think it's the cool ranch of the collection. It kind of feels like many ideas were thrown at this polish and forced together and it just did not work. It's not bad. It's just not something I would reach for. Unlike No Opalogies, which I will not apologize for. I'll sing myself out. For Sage the Day, I compared it to Mint Mojito, Orly's Slytherin, and a nail combo of Celestial Lights and Gold's Holo Scattered Taco. It's really hard to say that. None of these were close to duping it. The gold gives it, there's like a gold in it, right? I know it doesn't say there's a gold in it, but it's giving gold. Something in there is giving gold, and there's just so much of it in there that gives it a certain warmth, and the green is muted and dark enough that it gives it like a certain depth, and there isn't anything I have that can dupe it. So that is the one thing it has going for it, is it is a very unique and special polish, but I cannot, it's just not enough gold halo scattered taco in the world to dupe this polish. 2.8 out of 10. It's Sprout of Control! Moving on to Sprout of Control, which is the polish I am most excited about. I love my thermals. It is described as a grape purple in the cold state to a sage green in the warm state. Thermal polishes that changes colors depending on the temperature with a green shimmer. I love thermals so much. Holotaco hasn't released a lot of thermals because it's very hard to source pigments, blah, 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 blah. I have almost all of them except for a few from the So Many Emotions collection. Holotaco's 5th anniversary collection. There was 2 pinks in there that I did not grab, but I have almost all of them because there really isn't that many. But literally all the thermal polishes Holotaco ends up releasing tend to be straight bangers. I got this one in 2 coats, but I think you could get away with 1 because it is just perfect amount of thickness, that it's not thick, but it's thick. In its cold state, I kind of think it looks like Moonlit Rodeo, but in its warm state, it is not green. Christine, it is not green. I've heard people say it is blue, and I have to agree. It is a mint blue. It is not, I mean, I'm not complaining because the polish is gorgeous. The shift is beautiful, but it is not green. It is a blue purple in a green purple collection. You done goofed. I'm sorry. I've also seen a few people say that they can get this polish from anywhere. So I did do a quick search when writing this script. And from that search, I found 2 polishes from 2 different brands that are similar. The first is a gel UV that I saw on Amazon. And the next one is a thermal called Luna from, I'm going to say it wrong, Curque Colors. Them. The one from them looks the most similar. When looking at close-up pictures of each of the polishes, it seems like the one from Holotaco has a bigger pigment size than the other. But with everybody else's argument on this, sure, let's say hypothetically they are the exact same polish, or they are similar enough that they could be dupes for each other. The only big difference is one's limited edition and one's not. They are the same price. So really, the only thing kind of standing in the way from like just a basic retail without knowing the different brands or whatever is one's limited edition, one's not. One's more accessible. And I do feel the need to point out that on the internet, I have a few times seen polishes from Holotaco that have polishes that look like other polishes from other brands. So this is not a new thing. I don't think, I've heard people bring it up with this collection, but this has been a problem for a while, and I use problem with quotation marks. I will talk about it more towards the end of the video. We still have one more polish we gotta get through. For Sprout of Control, I compared it in its cold state to Flash Drive and a nail combo of Resting Witch Face and Celestial Lights, which shocked me. It shocked me how perfect that shimmer is. Celestial Lights is a green shimmer, and yet it came off kind of that bluey shimmer that we have within Sprout of Control, because it is described as a green shimmer, but it kind of comes off blue. Chef's kiss. It's like a perfect match. Now, if resting witch face was just a little bit darker, we would have a dupe on our hand. But it's not, so I'm sad. And for its warm state, I compared it to Light Link and another nail combo of Time After Time and Celestial Lights. I think Time After Time is a true sage color, so we can definitely see this is not green, this is not sage, this is blue. For Sprout of Control, I'm going to rate it a 4.9. And finally, Purple Flake Taco. It is described as a purple, metallic, asymmetrical foil flake within a clear base, because that's how toppers work. I felt like the polish applied a little thin, even though it is indeed a topper. It's just I have like red flake taco that applies so many flakies on just one stroke, so I have unrealistic expectations. It's not a bad thing that it's more spread out, because that means you can see any sort of nail art or anything underneath. It's remedied in 2 coats, so it's fine. I'm a little dramatic. I guess it's better that it's a little thin than a little thick, because, you know, if it's too thick, it's kind of hard to thin it out a little bit, but I guess you could use nail thinner. I don't know. I don't work here, man. I don't work here. I am glad, though, that holotaco has been releasing more toppers lately. It kind of feels like the past year or so, they hadn't really wanted toppers. And then all of a sudden we get the magnetics, and then we've got the advent calendar, and we got the jellies and the hearts, and it's like, and the stars, and yeah, it's been a very up and down journey of the toppers, because it felt like they didn't want toppers, and now it feels like they're all about toppers, but they kind of moved towards the chunky toppers, which Christine was very against when she had the Sophia collection. But I think that was because of necessarily the bats, not necessarily the toppers themselves being chunky. I think it was just the bats that were funny, but I'm not 100% sure, and people kind of twist that a little bit. I do think, though, that this polish would have been better if it wasn't limited edition. There's not really any need for it to be limited edition, except for the fact that Holo Royalty wanted it so bad that it got included in this collection. But also, now I want a blue and a teal topper, please. Christine, please. For comparison, I compared it to Gold Flake Taco and Red Flake Taco, just so you can see how they apply differently compared to the Purple Flake Taco. It's really just the same formula but different colors, but red for some reason just applies thick. And I want to point out too, that's not because I've had it on my shelf for so long. I bought it like that. So for Purple Flake Taco, it's a topper. It works. It's just a little thin for me, so 4.8. Overall, I really liked this collection, which doesn't say much since I had a say in the decisions of this, because Holo Royalty, which you could probably guess. I wish this collection was not limited edition, because I love the polishes so much, with the exception of Sage the Day. We can get that one out of here. We don't need it. As for the whole copying thing, I don't think any of this whole thing is any part of Christine or holotaco's fault. This has nothing to do with holotaco, really. It's a little more complicated. First of all, there's always going to be some overlap. For example, I just want to point this out because I don't think people think about this. Cremes. You're always going to have a red, for example, that Sally sells, that is very close to a red that Orly is selling, that's very close to a red that Essie is selling, that is very close to a red that Zoya is selling, that is very close to a red that Holotaco is selling. You get my point? It's the same formula, same color relatively, and they're so similar because everyone wants a creme. Everyone wants a red. And then you get into things like pigment suppliers and getting into pigments, because for all we know, holotaco and the colors company have a similar same supplier that they get their pigments from. And so they get their pigments, but the differences in this is how they mix the polishes, right? Because especially with like the cremes, right? I mentioned Essie and Orally and Sally, all could have the same color, all could say creme, but if you ever have bought cremes from those brands, you know they apply very differently. Different formulas. They have their own way of mixing things. Some are thinner, some are thicker, so on and so forth. And so you get that with those as well. But then also, it's really hard to make a pigment from scratch. So instead of making a pigment, you are taking multiple pigments. I'm using quotations here to kind of emphasize, to create one pigment. Think when you have flour and you add baking soda to it, and now you have a whole new flour mixture, right? You started off with all purpose, you add baking soda in it, you do blah blah blah, all of a sudden it's bread flour, all of a sudden it's cake flour. It's gonna be different. It's the same thing, kinda, but it's different because they mix it differently because they have their own formula but the same pigment. Janice at her own bakery is going to bake a cake with her own recipe but uses the same ingredients from Katie at her bakery because they do it differently, so it's going to be a little different. Maybe I forgot what I used for her name. Janice? Maybe Janice melts her butter. Maybe Katie softens it. And maybe George raw dogs it. Just a hard stick of butter. It's just things like this that create the subtle differences within the polishes that make them different. But it's not copying. And now, if they were to take some other company's polish, put in their own bottle, and slap a label on it, that's a different story. But we're talking about pigments and mixing and supply chain and warehouse and things that I am not paid to explain, and it's complicated. Everything with running a business is so freaking complicated. I also want to point out that the whole label stealing polish is not what holotaco is doing. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think that Christine has a little bit of a moral compass to not do that. I would sure hope so, especially with how much money I've given them. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry I had to hurry to record this video and get it edited, but be sure to like if you like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. I do plan on releasing another review video. I've had a nail art video that I've had for the last month or so that I haven't edited yet that I need to, but I think that I'm going to get the reviews done first and then I'll do that one. So stay tuned for that. Check out my Insta and my TikTok. I am posting nail growth, because I broke this guy, on my Instagram, as well as any sort of manis that I do, which my hand is naked. Don't look at her. And I will see y'all later. Bye! What's wrong with me? It's out of control! Oh no! Oh, shit! I kicked the trash can and it fought back.